All right, so Kyle asks, as a beginner, when I'm rolling, what should I be focused on? I.e., maintaining a certain dominant position, surviving, frames, etc. This is a really good question, and it's something that anyone who's thoughtful, who does jiu-jitsu, anyone who's even remotely thoughtful, asks this question at some point. And there's a ton of answers to this question. Everybody's going to have their own take. My take on this is the number one thing that you should be focused on, you're actually already doing by asking the question, which is you're being intentional. You're attempting to be intentional. What I mean by that is bringing focus and intention to every specific practice, every class, where you're working one thing. It's something that coach has taught you, it's something you saw on YouTube, whatever it is. You're working one very specific thing, and you're only working that one thing, whether you tell your training partners or not. Like, but in your head, you're just trying to improve at this one very specific thing, and you're going to keep running into that wall until it starts to finally crack, right? Intentionality, focus, being able to come to a very specific thing, that's the key to rapid improvement. Because jiu-jitsu is extremely dynamic. There's infinite things going on in jiu-jitsu. There's so many positions and submissions and escapes, and I've got to worry about guard passing and guard retention and stand-up, and now I've got to worry about not getting strangled and leg locks and all kinds of stuff, right? And when you're new, especially, you have no way to filter all of this data that is coming at you at hyper speed in an ultra chaotic situation. So the number one thing you can do if you really want to improve early is to intentionally filter all this data yourself by just thinking about one thing, right? One very specific thing. So that could be as specific as I'm going to get mounted, either because I know I'm going to get mounted all the time because I suck, or because I'm just going to let them pass my guard and mount me. And every time I'm mounted, I'm going to specifically focus on putting my elbow, getting a good elbow frame in the hip. And when they take it away from me, I'm just going to focus on getting it back. And I'm going to spend my entire roll, all my rolls tonight, just focused on getting this elbow in the hip and always getting it back into their hip like coach was teaching me. I'm just going to get it where coach recommends, and we're going to see what happens. Anything else can happen and will happen, and I have no control over it. But the thing I'm going to control is, can I get this elbow to this near side hip every time someone mounts me? Every time they take it away, I'm going to find a way to get it back. Make up your own little game in your mind, right? And every time you get it back, you win again. And let them break it. See how long you can hold it. Let them break it again. You can start to, first off, make class much more engaging for yourself in your own mind, but also you really start to improve because now you're getting really good at one specific thing. You're getting a lot of bullets down the barrel at one very, very, very specific thing, and specifically under maximum resistance, right? You're not just drilling this, you're doing this while they're actively mounting you and trying to submit you. So you're going to get better fast because you're going to get really good at that one thing. And now we start saying, okay, well, I just did that for 2 weeks, and I'm getting pretty good at that. I'm not exposing my back. I figured out that if I take my elbow across that center line, they keep taking my back, so I figured I'm going to keep it there in the hip. Now I'm going to work to start getting my other elbow on the inside, right? So I can actually start affecting a mount escape. So you start, and it's helpful to have information, obviously. It's you can totally still improve in these things by just getting in the position and working it out. Rep after rep after rep, getting smashed, repeating, testing, hypothesizing, testing, repeating, right? It's helpful, though, to also have some information. So if you're one of my students and I've been going over some mount escapes, if you know that, let's say, a knee elbow escape, if that's the end goal, right? We always start with the end in mind. If the end, the win, right, the thing that we're trying to accomplish is I'm out of mount via a knee elbow escape, or I'm out of mount, right? Out of mount. Let's start there. Let's work backwards. What is a way out of mount that I know or that I've been taught, right? Let's say that's knee elbow escape. Now continue to work backwards. What are the ingredients for a knee elbow escape, right? There's a lot of steps and ingredients to the knee elbow escape, but if you work all the way back, some of the very first things that you're going to encounter that need to be true in order to progress in a knee elbow escape is I need frames, right? I need a frame on the hip. I need to win this inside battle with my elbow. I need to load them on the hips. These are the things that you start to figure out, like, what are the basic ingredients to, for this recipe of this technique. And now you spend a week working one ingredient. And that systematic approach to starting with the end in mind, breaking it down into the smallest component that you can, and then just working that one component over and over and over again against people who are less experienced than you. And then when you're doing it over and over again to them, upgrading to your peers, and when you're doing it to all of them, you start doing it with people who are better than you, and when you're having success against people who are even better than you, now you actually have a skill that you've actually built a skill, right? And you can continue improving it, but now you can say, okay, well, now I'm going to add in the next ingredient, and I'm just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. So that's a long-winded way of saying you're already doing this by asking the question, being intentional, right? I encourage you to come to class, be ultra intentional. Before you ever come into class, have an idea of what you want to work, even if you don't really know how to work it yet, right? Just think of a problem you're having, come in and start trying new solutions. And as you're going to gather data from actually doing it, right, in real time. You're like, well, I tried that and that didn't work. Let me try something different. You'll also gather data from your peers who are rolling with you, because you can ask questions. You'll also gather data from me as your coach as I'm teaching, and you can ask me questions as well. That's how you're going to get good. Or that's how you're going to get good quick. The other thing is, like, obviously I could give you like a specific direction here, and if I had to give you any one specific direction, it's concentrate the vast majority of the things that you are trying to achieve, the skills you're trying to develop at this stage. Concentrate the vast majority, like 90% of that energy and effort, concentrate it on your defense. There's a reason that all of the blue belt curriculum and the kind of the litmus test for a blue belt here at Grapple is all highly defensive based. It's because that's, at least in my opinion, it's the best way to build your game, is have really good defense first and then start adding in our counterattacks. And then when you trust your defense, you can take risks. You can take lots of risks and be cool, right? You don't have to freak out just because you went for something and it failed. You're not afraid of having your guard pass. It's not such a fear of yours that you utterly gas yourself out in a match to prevent a guard pass because you're terrified of being on the bottom, right? Nobody wants to be on the bottom, or maybe some people do, but I don't want to be on the bottom. But if I am on the bottom, I'm not as, like, I am stressed out, right? I'm not nearly as stressed as I once was because I have a lot of confidence in my escapes, in my pin escapes and my submission escapes. So hopefully that's helpful. Definitely working on surviving, and we survive. Number one way we survive is through frames. So think about frames, dig into the science of frames. What are frames? Start asking the right kinds of questions, right? What are frames? What are the basic building blocks of frames? Now I'm going to play with this in certain positions. And then also that 10% that's not spent on defense, spend it refining your top position, like figuring out a way to use your defense to come on top and then stay on top for as long as you can. there's especially in like today's in like kind of modern no-gi meta right now, there's a lot of and I'm guilty of this too, there's some bad habits of I have top position, but you know what, I'm just gonna send a leg lock and I'm just like I'm past the guard, right? I'm already on top, or I'm camping on the guard and really wearing them out, but I'm just gonna fall back on my back and go for a leg lock. I highly encourage you for at least white to purple belt, if not forever, right? But at least white to purple. Really be concentrated on, I want to be on top, right? I'm not going to muscle my way on top and like I want to get there through some finesse. I want to get there through letting my opponent take me there themselves. I want to get there through jiu-jitsu, not just brute force. But when I'm on top, even if I'm not pinning them yet, I have this natural advantage called mobility and gravity, these two massive natural advantages. Let me utilize those, right? You know, dictating the pace of a match gives you a massive edge. It usually dictates the outcome of the match, whoever dictated the pace. And until you have a certain level of guard play where you are very offensive from the guard, whoever's on top is usually dictating the pace of the match. At least that's my take on it. So hopefully that's helpful. 90% defense, 10% staying on top, and more than anything, being really intentional every time you come to class. Have a plan, and every time you leave class, open up your voice memo and do a brain dump. Like I got that from Josh Saunders, right? He's doing a brain dump on the way home every night, everything that he can remember from the past however many hours of jiu-jitsu he just did, everything that he learned, all the things he drilled, his wins, his losses, the things that are the submissions he got, the things he got caught in, all the things, as much as you can put in to that voice memo. Put it in there, come back a couple days later, re-listen to it. Our classes are recorded and live streamed, so you can even go back and watch the live stream while you're listening to a recording, and you can see like what you remembered versus what was actually said in the instruction, and see how much you're retaining it, right? And where maybe you got some fuzzy details, you got a little fuzzy on some of the details, and need a little bit of work, right? So I think that's a huge way to also just retain things that you're learning. So this all presupposes that you want to get as good as possible as quickly as possible, right? Like if you're just here to have fun, it's a hobby, you're doing it kind of at your own pace, that's fine. Like if you want to get as good as possible as quickly as possible, then I think you have to be a lot more systematic in your approach. But it's a great question, Kyle. Hopefully that's helpful, and I'll see you on the mats. I'm sure you'll have some follow-up questions, and we'll make more videos.